So the first look at Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2 has been unveiled with a bunch of images that I'm gonna get to right now. Very excited to get into this today. I've not seen the first Gladiator film in a while, actually, so I most definitely will be revisiting that when the first trailer comes out, which has been confirmed to come out this month of July. I imagine it's probably going to come out within the week, given that these images have been revealed. So we're going to start with the first one here. This one is of Paul Mescal as... I don't really know the character's name yet, but I'm sure we'll learn about him. Channeling his inner Russell Crowe. We'll talk a little bit more about these images when we've kind of gone through them at the minute, but there's the first one. First look at Pedro Pascal in the film. We don't really know what kind of roles these actors have in this film and their relation to one another. However, we can get a kind of an idea between Pedro and Paul in an image we're gonna coming up with. That's coming up next. But we have this one as well. In the middle of a battle sequence. It's said that this film has some of the best action sequences ever put to film, which is incredibly exciting. I don't know if it's actually shot on film, but I most certainly hope so. Next one, this is the one that I was talking about. So, both of them fighting in the Colosseum ring, whatever, Colosseum. It seems that the thing is, with the other image, it kind of comes across as if Pedro Pascal is kind of not like a general, and yet he's also in the Colosseum fighting against Paul Mescal, who I'm incredibly excited about. He's one of my favorite actors, one of the best actors on the rise today. So it's incredibly exciting. I'm really happy for Paul for getting a kind of role like this, because this really is going to shoot him up to a proper A-lister or on that, on the rise to reach that level. Next one, we have another one of Paul Mescal in his just a topless picture that I'm sure everyone's going to be very happy and feeling over, but nothing really to talk about there. Now, I think this is the most exciting shot that has been released, because this does look like it's a frame in the film. It might not be, but I think this gives us a little bit better a better idea of the cinematography and the kind of blend of practicality and CG. I think the background on the left here with the kind of structure, I think that's real, and as for everything else, looks kind of CG. Not obviously though, but it's got good lighting. I like the costume design, and obviously Paul, I'm already sold on. I don't actually need a trailer to be fully sold on Paul's performance in this film. But that's my favourite image so far. We're obviously going to cover other ones as well. Another one of Paul, just in the sand, I assume, in the Colosseum as well. So a lot revealing the kind of fight scene. I don't know how long this film is meant to be. We're going to go into the Vanity Fair article, which talks about Gladiator a little bit, so we'll get into that. We also have our first look at Denzel Washington in the film. Seems like he has a very, very important role, both role in the film, but also character-wise and where he stands in this kingdom. We also have the first look at Joseph Quinn looking at Denzel Washington. I know a lot of people aren't really sold on Joseph Quinn as an actor, which I think is insane considering he's good in Stranger Things. It's just people get annoyed at that image of Eddie. Joseph Quinn's a great actor. Very excited for his performance in this as well. Look at him right there. You can forget that that's Joseph Quinn. Next one we have returning to Gladiator as Lucilla is what's her name again? Connie Nielsen. Exciting. I do wonder if any of her, because I can't really remember too well how the Gladiator 1 kind of ended. And I think he had a son, and I don't know if that son's going to be in this film. Maybe it is Paul. We'll see. Another picture here we have of Fred Hetchinger. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but really excited about his role in this actually, because he's a funny actor. I don't believe I've seen him in any serious roles before. I mean, I'm having a look at his filmography here, and he's kind of been in a couple serious-ish films, but I don't think his role has ever been on the side of serious. So it's exciting to see him in this as well. Very excited about that. We know Matt Lucas is in the film as well. I don't believe he's in any of the background pictures, but here we have a behind-the-scenes look of Ridley directing Paul here. I love the practical effects that we see here, the production design, the sets, everything looks fantastic. I just hope that Ridley's got the script, because he's got the directing juice. We know he has. Napoleon has some incredible action sequences, even though the film was not good. But the thing that Napoleon suffers from is from bad scripts. And The Last Duel, which was Ridley's second, 2 films ago, that had a really good script, and that was a fantastic film. I love that. It's probably one of my favourite Ridley Scott films. So I hope that the script's there. I'm going to have a look at the writer now for the film. It's David Scarpa, who did write Napoleon, which ain't a great look. I mean, he's not really wrote many films, especially not films that are great. So a little bit worried there on a script standpoint, but we'll keep an open mind. I believe we have one more image here. Yeah, we do. This image here, again, just kind of an extra look at Paul, looking at some armor and a sword. I don't know who that is in the background. That could possibly be... what's his name? Clifton Collins Jr., I think. Is that Clifton? No, I don't think so. I mean, it might be. I'm not too sure. Or it could be Michael Irby. No, I'm not too sure. I can't really tell there. But, I mean, there's it. Not Michael Irby. What am I on about? He's not even in the film. That could be... I don't know. I actually don't know this. Maybe Mescal something. I forgot his last name. I think it might be. I'm not too sure. If you know, you'll have to let me in the comments below. We're going to jump onto the article now. We're going to get through it really quickly. I don't want to keep this video run for too long. How long we've been filming for? 8 minutes. I don't want to waffle for a bit, too long. We're just going to cover this now. But Ridley Scott did say, watching a TV show, that's not really my kind of TV show, almost 4 years ago. Normal people. Who's this guy? He was a special find. He was absolutely perfect. So that's obviously one of the reasons why he cast Paul in the film. Paul says, my nose is kind of Roman, so it's useful in this context. The nose that I absolutely hated when I was in secondary school and used to get ribald for, became very useful here. Sure. Okay. Sure. Paul Mescal turns and looks out the window as he talks about playing a warrior fighting for his life in Ridley Scott's long-awaited sequel to Gladiator. The light strikes the steep angles of his face, and for a moment it's easy to picture him as a millennia-old marble bust. And then he talks about his nose. Mescal didn't expect that his breakout role as the sensitive overachiever Connor Waldron in the romantic series Normal People would lead him to playing a ferocious sword-swinging hero in the follow-up to 2001's Best Picture winner. Again, he kind of talks about Normal People a little bit. It did really happen that fast. Mescal confirms we spoke about 20 to 30 minutes. I wanted to get a flavour from him about what the story was going to be about, so we spent about 15 minutes talking about that, and then we spent about 10 minutes talking about the sport that I played growing up in, Gaelic football, which I believe is also in Normal People. Maybe that was something that helped with it, and that I'm used to being physical in my body. They talked about possibly doing a camera test, but Scott decided he didn't need it. My memory of it is that probably 2 or 3 weeks later, the offer came in, Mescal says. Now, with Gladiator 2 heading to theatres November 22nd, they're ready to tell the rest of the world where the story picks up in the years after Russell Crowe's Maximus gave his life, upending the leadership of the decadent and corrupt society. The central character portrayed by Mescal is Lucius, last seen as the son of Lucilla. So there we go, there's confirmed there. Connie Nielsen's noblewoman from the original movie. Nielsen also returns for the sequel, playing one of the few true-life figures in an otherwise fictional Gladiator storyline. The daughter of the late Emperor Marcus Aurelius. In the actual history, Lucia was a firebrand revolutionary who despaired by the direction Rome took after her father's demise. Even more, again, you could probably just click off the video if you don't want to hear about it, but as Gladiator 2 picks up her story, decades have passed and Lucius has come of age far away from his mother while he was still a child. Lucilla sent him to a northern coast of Africa, to the region called Luminda. That was, at that point, just outside the reach of the Roman Empire. He never fully understood why, and as he grew stronger, so did his resentment, even if his mother's reasons had been pure. Interesting. There's a lot of Sophie's Choice going on here, where there are impossible situations that are being forced to be reckoned with, says Nielsen. There are authoritarian power that's parading as if it was somehow the vestiges of Republican government. Inside of the travesty are human beings who are caught up in gamemanship and power. That is what I find always so interesting in Ridley's stories. He's showing the effect of power of people and what happens in a place where power is restrained. This is a very long article. We're not going to cover it all, so we're just going to kind of go down to this here. As Gladiator 2 begins, Mescal's Lucius has a wife and child and lives a relatively peaceful life with them until conquerors from his homeland begins to encroach. He's taken root in a seacoast in Luminda. He's a blue-eyed, fair-skinned man with red hair, and he couldn't be more different from his inhabitants. Scott says it's one of the last surviving civilizations as the Romans begin to descend in North Africa and take it over. So I assume that's probably going to be Denzel Washington's role kind of plays into it. Obviously, we've got Joseph Quinn, which I believe he's probably the guy they're referring to as well. The article ends with Gladiator 2 has special meaning for Scott, who's been hard charging at the age of 86 and turning out at least one epic scale film every year or two. One thing he tends not to do is revisit his work for a sequel. I was slow out the starting gate, and I mean I shouldn't have done the sequel to Alien Blade Runner. You change over the years. At that time, I didn't want to go through with it. Scott was determined to keep the second chapter for himself. Today Scott sees the conflicts of the contemporary world in terms of pointlessly punishing battles that marked the ancient one, describing the political atmosphere he explores in Gladiator 2. The director says the leadership is in total chaos. We have demagogues, that's a good word. The people who are in charge are out of their minds and everyone is too afraid to contradict. That's familiar ground right now. So there we go, there is Gladiator 2. We're going to wrap up this video now, get this over and done with. Again, there should be a trailer for Gladiator come very, very soon. I'm going to have a look here if there is a possible trailer date, but I don't believe there's a specific one. We just know it'll be releasing around mid-July, probably before Deadpool and Wolverine comes out. So I imagine maybe next week, but also most likely leading to Deadpool and Wolverine. Anyway, let me know comments below. Are you excited about Gladiator 2? Are you happy with those images released? And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, like, and comment, all the good stuff. My Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd down below if I drop off them. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.